So I definitely wanted to talk about the 3 games that caught my eye during the Xbox showing. And there were 3 games that are basically, of course, RPGs. That is what this channel is mostly about, RPGs and CRPGs. And I'm going to be talking about them sort of in ascending order, as it were. From the game that impressed me the least to the game that impressed me most, so to speak. So let's start with Outer Worlds 2. I initially was somewhat optimistic about Outer Worlds 2 because I thought, or I had heard, that some of the OGs from way back in the day, guys who'd worked on the original Fallout games back in the 90s, this sort of thing, were working on the game or even writing the game. And then the trailer came out. Now, from a technical standpoint, I'd say that Outer Worlds 2 looks fine, pretty good even. I don't have any issues from the technical side. But unfortunately, it seems they're going to repeat the stupid capitalism mantra that they had in the first game, which was boring as hell. It is overdone, it's overcooked, we just don't need it anymore. And all the more so now because they're really leaning into it. If you see the end of the trailer, they say, support capitalism by pre-ordering the game. Yes, I get it, it's tongue-in-cheek. Yes, I get it, they are memeing. Yes, I get it, it's supposed to be funny. The only problem is it's not that funny. Is this the only type of game they can make these days in terms of Outer Worlds where they talk about capitalism and corpos and anti-corpos and anti-capitalists? I mean, in the trailer, you actually see this woman who is literally saying, we've come to strip the planet of resources and spread capitalism. I mean, that's just not that funny, to be honest, at the end of the day. So, although I was initially interested in the Outer Worlds 2, this is definitely going to be a wait for reviews type of game for me. Yes, technically it looks good, it looks better than the original game. Yes, from a technical standpoint, the game looks fine to even good, but that's not all that makes a game, obviously. And I certainly don't want to play a game where I'm being lectured to nonstop about the evils of capitalism, even if they're leaning into it with the support the game and support capitalism by buying the capitalist game and this sort of thing. It's just not that funny. It's played out, it's trite, it's kind of stupid. And I'm disappointed from what I saw, at least, in terms of the dialogue, in terms of the theme. The visuals, the technical stuff, like I said, is fine. So let's move on from this somewhat disappointing title to a title I was looking forward to the most, but ended up taking the middle ground in terms of the 3 games I had an eye on during the Xbox showing. That is Dawnwalker, Blood of Dawnwalker, to be more specific. I'm still very excited about this game, relatively speaking. I'm still very into this game, relatively speaking. But I really thought that the content that they showed was relatively janky. A lot of the characters, including Cohen and the vampires, looked a bit plastic to me, almost like clay or Play-Doh, and the animations looked a bit off. Now, it is true that Blood of Dawnwalker is coming out next year. Who knows exactly when? Maybe they have a year and a half even to release it. Maybe a year, we don't know exactly. So they have a goodly amount of time, arguably, to fix these issues. And more importantly, they are going to be doing their big showing on the 21st of June, that is in the coming couple of weeks, at 2100 Central European Time. And I suspect that the quality of what they're going to show there will probably be better than what they showed at the Xbox showing. For the very simple reason that this is going to be a dedicated showing of gameplay with explanations, questions asked, and hopefully questions answered. And so I expect quality overall to either be more indicative and reflective of what we're going to see in the game, or at the very least improved in some regard. That said, aside from the objections to the animations and the kind of clay-like or plastic-like appearance of the characters, the content of the trailer really got me excited. You really see some cool stuff there. You see this mechanical monster we'd seen before, you see Cohen engaging in swordplay, as well as climbing buildings during the nighttime, and you really see the dichotomy between being a human during the day and a vampire at night. You see him fighting none other than Santha, the eldest most vampire, the female vampire from the ancient Greek islands, and she casts some blood magic on him. And he also seems to be fighting, in this trailer, some kind of blood-starved vampire, or at least what appears to be some kind of blood-starved vampire. And you also see a mummified undead person in the trailer as well. And you see some nice landscape shots and this sort of thing. So overall, the content was pretty interesting. We get a sense of what Cohen is capable of. He's going to have clearly very vampiric powers at night, including climbing up walls, maybe turning into mist as well, or controlling rats or wolves, we don't know. but it looked pretty cool overall apart from the things that I mentioned. Now, that was the game that was most anticipated by me, so now we're going to come to the game that surprised me the most in a positive sense, and that is Clockwork Revolution. Now, I don't have a particularly great interest in steampunk. I'm not somehow necessarily opposed to it either. It's just not a genre that typically captures my interest, to be perfectly blunt. But a couple of things about Clockwork Revolution won me over. One, it's being made by inXile. inXile is one of those OG developer studios from way back in the early 2000s. They have a fairly legendary status in the CRPG/RPG genre, and they have a lot of experience on top of that. And what I saw visually looked very impressive. Everything looked smooth. The writing and humor did not strike me as millennial, which could be attributed to the fact that most of the people at inXile are in fact Gen X, like I am. And I thought the gunplay was interesting, the idea of time manipulation vis-a-vis certain gadgets and what have you. So overall, I was pretty impressed by what they showed with Clockwork Revolution, and it was the thing that impressed me the most in the entire show, specifically with respect to RPGs. So this is probably going to be a day one purchase for me, and I'm probably going to enjoy it, I imagine. And I say that as someone who is not a steampunk enjoyer typically, but even though the genre and the theme itself does not really capture my interest in a very natural or automatic way, like I said, sometimes what you see can really win you over. It was, on top of all of that, actual gameplay. It wasn't anything cinematic. It wasn't pre-alpha. It wasn't rendered in a special way. That is the way the game is going to look, and that is the way the game is going to play. First person, you play a voice protagonist, who you, of course, can sculpt in a character creator. You get to choose your stats, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses. I imagine that's going to be a factor as well in things like dialogue, for example, if you have higher or lower charisma, things of that nature. So yes, Clockwork Revolution really impressed me the most, more so than Dawnwalker, although nominally my interest in Dawnwalker is greater. But with respect to Dawnwalker, we really have to wait and see. Let us wait for that 21st of June showing and see what they have in store, because I strongly suspect the June 21st showing will be much more impressive, much more revelatory, and just look better in terms of plain old graphics, in terms of plain old animations. Let's wait and see for that to be shown to us before we pass final judgment. I'm still very psyched about Blood of Dawnwalker, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And again, with Outer Worlds 2, please give me a goddamn break. I am tired of hearing about memes of corpos and capitalism. It's just not funny. The joke has run its course, so let's move on. So in the case of Outer Worlds 2, it is very much a wait and see, wait for the reviews. Blood of Dawnwalker, definitely a day one purchase regardless. And surprisingly, to my shock, Clockwork Revolution looks really good. I will definitely be playing this game and probably reviewing it as well. But anyway, let me know what caught your eye in the Xbox showing. But as always, if you like my content and you like my takes, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's much appreciated as it really helps out the channel. And I will check you out next time. Take care.